Hello everybody, this is Christine Ataya and we are going to revise here the main points we have to focus on it in the consumer behavior syllabus for chapter 2. Chapter 2 is called Target Market Segmentation, Evaluation and Positioning. The important questions with its answers are delivered to you via your email or Gmail of the Future Academy Gmail. You have to check your mail to find the answered questions between short essay, definitions, multiple choice questions, and true or false. If you have any concerns, any questions, any question about this content I'm going to present to you, don't never hesitate to contact me at my Gmail. My Gmail is christine.ataya. Just write the name in the Gmail of the Academy and my email will appear to you on the spot. So just write to me your question or your concern and I will reply you as soon as possible. So let's start revising these main points that Dr. Laila has lectured you before. We have in this chapter 4 main learning objectives. We have to know these objectives before hearing the presentation to know what we have to learn in such a chapter. The first learning objective is to learn what a market is. So we have to know the definition of a market and the types of markets we as marketeers or consumer behavior experts have to know because we will confront in our businesses. So, what a market is? What are the two main types of markets? Which is the first consumer market and the second is the business market. The second learning objective is to understand the differences among general targeting strategies. So, what are the different targeting strategies we can use to target our consumer? What is targeting? What is target market? What is segmentation? All of these definitions we will know at this chapter. What are the different targeting strategies and when to use every one? The third objective, to become familiar with the major segmentation variables. We will soon know what is segmentation, but on which basis do we select the segment? On which basis we do the process of segmentation? This process is based upon characteristics which we called variables. Those variables we will study later in this chapter. And finally, we will talk about positioning. We have studied positioning before in the principles of marketing and the IMC, but we don't know if there is something called repositioning. So if I've positioned my product in the minds of the consumers and this position is just constant, can I reposition this image? Can I change it to better image? If Yes, we will know how. Let's go through these slides. Let's go through the chapter and start our definitions. What is a market? A market is a group of people who, as individuals or organizations, have needs for products in a product class and the ability, willingness, and authority to purchase such products. Now we said it might be a group of individuals or organizations. If our market is a group of individuals and users, we call it a consumer market. While on the other side, if our consumers are organizations, we call it business market. So it's a group of people, either individuals or organizations, and they have needs for the products. They have needs for the products in a product class. They have the ability, willingness, and authority to purchase products. Why have we said they have to possess the ability, willingness, and authority? Because they might have the ability and willingness, but they don't have the authority to buy such products. And if one factor of this were missed, that won't be a market. So, a market might be a small kiosk, a hypermarket, or a whole country like Egypt. We can call every aspect of this a market. Every shape of this can be called a market. What is a target market? A target market is a group of people or organizations which a business creates and maintains a marketing mix specifically designed to satisfy the needs of group members. So, a target market is a group of people which the organization serves. It creates a specific, a precise marketing mix just designed to satisfy their specific needs. So I choose a group of people to serve. I select a group of people or organizations, either it's a consumer market or a business market, to serve. How do I serve them? By making a specific marketing mix that target and satisfy their specific needs. So, individuals can have the desire, the buying power, and the willingness to purchase certain products, but may not be authorized to do so, as I've said before. And markets fall in one of two categories, as I said before, either consumer markets or business markets. Let's know the types of markets. We have two main types. The first one is the consumer market, and the second one is the business market. Let's talk about the consumer market. Purchasers and household members who intend to consume or benefit from purchased products. So here we are talking about the consumers, the end users, people like me and you, those who buy the products for either for themselves or for their friends and families and the close ones. So they do not buy products to make profits like the business markets or like the business units. Consumer markets are sometimes referred to as business to consumer markets. The second type of markets is business markets. A business market consists of individuals or groups who purchase a specific kind of a product for one of three purposes. The first one is resale. The second one is direct use for producing other products. And the third one is used in general daily operations. The first one, resale, is for organizations like the wholesalers and retailers, like the hypermarkets we go shopping for our households through. They just buy the goods and the nutrition goods, the household goods, the disposable goods, and just offer them to others to purchase from. So they buy all the goods, put it in the hypermarket, and we go to buy the products from them. So their service is reselling. They buy the product to resell it to others to make profits. Number two is direct use for producing other products, like manufacturing organizations. Do you remember the production and operation management you have studied in the second year? Do you remember the materials management you studied in the third year? Those two main topics or subjects were talking about the production and how the production firms buy some stuff like materials, spare parts, raw materials, stationery, and machines to produce. So they buy such products or such materials, machines, whatever, to produce. They use it directly for producing other products to provide such products for us. So this is a second purpose for purchasing products in business markets. The third one is to use them in general daily operations. We call this sentence always for the service sector. So if there is a firm providing services, it's a service rendering organization. It's not manufacturing, like tourism, like education, anything you have experiences through. It's not just giving you product, but it's giving you service. They use some stuff to use in the general daily operations. So like the education services we are providing you in the academy. We have bought some stuff to prepare for the section you are sitting in. There is a projector, there is a whiteboard, there are chairs and desks for you to use, and there are some stationery for the instructor. All these are specific kinds of products for this purpose. So the business markets consists of organizations who purchase these products for one of the three purposes we have just mentioned: resale, direct use for production, and using in daily operations. Business markets may also be called business to business markets. Now we are going to talk about the targeting strategies. How to identify the appropriate targeting strategy. The targeting strategy used is affected by three main factors: The first is the characteristics of the target market. So, for example, Egypt characteristics is different somehow from Italy characteristics. The consumer in Egypt might be somehow different from the consumers in Italy. So, these characteristics would identify which targeting strategy to use. Number two is the product attributes or the features of the product itself. From a product to another, these differences will differ in selecting the appropriate targeting strategy. And the organization's objectives and resources as well would select a different targeting strategy. So every difference in any one of these main three factors would change our decision about the appropriate targeting strategy. There are three main different strategies for targeting. The first one is called undifferentiated targeting strategy. The second one is called concentrated targeting strategy. And the second is called differentiated targeting strategy. The undifferentiated targeting strategy, the organization must be able to develop and maintain a single marketing mix that satisfies customers' needs, which is homogeneous. So we use this targeting strategy, the undifferentiated, when we develop a single marketing mix for a homogeneous target market. The second one is concentrated targeting strategy. So through market segmentation, which is in heterogeneous markets, we use a single marketing mix for this single market segment. Through market segmentation is appropriate for heterogeneous markets, which an organization targets a single market segment using one marketing mix. So in the concentrated targeting strategy, the market may be heterogeneous, but we use one marketing mix only to serve them. The third one is differentiated targeting strategy. Through market segmentation, a differentiated targeting strategy is a strategy in which an organization targets two or more segments by developing a marketing mix for each segment. Here, the differentiated targeting strategy is different from both the undifferentiated and the concentrated, that it has more than one marketing mix. For each segment, it uses a marketing mix, a different one, a specific one, which is different from the concentrated targeting strategy, which use only one marketing mix, even if it's a heterogeneous market. Let's move on to know some very important definitions like or about segmentation. What is market segmentation? It's the process of dividing a total market into groups with relatively similar product needs to design a marketing mix that matches those needs. So if we have a total market and we have just defined what a market is, we have to divide it into different groups, which we call segments. These groups is divided based on their similar needs to the product. And after we divide the market into segments through the segmentation, we design a marketing mix that fits those specific needs of this specific segment. the market segment. Individuals, groups, or organizations based on whether it was consumer market or business market. So the definition of market segment is individuals, groups, or organizations sharing one or more similar characteristics that cause them to have similar product needs. So they share similar features, they share similar traits that make them put in a one segment or a common segment. So they have the similar product needs. Number three, what is the reason for segmentation? Why do we make the segmentation process of dividing such a market? Firms are better able to develop a marketing mix that satisfies a small portion of a heterogeneous market. So if we have a heterogeneous market, what does it mean heterogeneous? Heterogeneous in Arabic means غير متجانس. And what about homogeneous? It's the opposite of heterogeneous, which is متجانس. Heterogeneous means غير متجانس أو مختلف بمعنى أصح. So if we have a heterogeneous market, it's full of different segments. It's better, it make it easier to develop the market segmentation in order to prepare the adequate marketing mix that fits every segment on its own. After this, we have to know the segmentation variables. What are the segmentation variables? This is the characteristics of individuals, groups, or organizations used to divide a market into segments. So we can say that it's the basis for segmentation, the basis for division. For example, we want to do segmentation for the market based on the demographic, psychographic, geographic, like this. These are variables which we make segmentation upon it. Let's look here. There are four main segmentation variables for the consumer markets, which is totally different from the segmentation variables for the business markets. But here in this presentation, we will focus only on the segmentation variables for the consumer markets. But that doesn't mean that we don't include the business markets variables in our syllabus. It's included, but we here are stressing some points only. Okay? So in the exam, we will be asked also about the segmentation variables for the business markets, which we can find back in the main slides of chapter 2 that Dr. Laila has sent us before. Let's go now quickly through these variables. We have four main variables. Number one, demographic variables. Number two, geographic variables. Number three, psychographic variables. And number four, behavioristic variables. What is demographic variables? Demographic in Arabic means demographia or خصائص السكان. It's something like age, gender, race, ethnicity, income, education, occupation, family size, family life cycle, religion, and social class. So, if we have the market and made segmentation based on the gender, for example, males and females. So, if we have taken the females segment, it's a segmentation based on the gender, and it's here using a demographic variable. Number two is geographic variables. It's region, urban, suburban, rural, city size, country size, state size, market density, climate, and terrain. Here, if we have made the segmentation process based on the country, For example, based on if the country is hot or cold regarding its weather, if it's about if it's European, African, Australian, American, where is the region, what is the characteristics of the cities and countries we are targeting. So this is called geographic variable. Psychographic variable. Psychographic variables are somehow psychological variables, like the personality attributes, the motives, the lifestyles. So, if I have divided the market into segments regarding if they are vegans, if they are vegetarians, or if they are um, working in the gym, or they like to have luxurious lives, this is a psychographic variable. And the final one is behavioristic variables. It's about how people behave. What is their volume usage, end use, benefit expectations, brand loyalty, and price sensitivity. So we have mentioned before that how customers behave regarding the organizations. We talk about the loyalty and their satisfaction and dissatisfaction. These issues are studied or segmented under the behavioristic variables. We have to know that there is something called values, attitudes, and lifestyles. It's called VALS. It's a way of classifying customers based on psychological characteristics that are correlated with purchasing behavior and related to key demographics. There is a VALS survey that was made earlier to include all these characteristics in a table. Here we have to stress on the demographic segmentation. Demographic segmentation is dividing consumer groups according to characteristics such as gender, age, income, occupation, education, ethnicity, household size, and stage in the family life cycle. Psychographic segmentation is dividing a population into groups that have similar psychological characteristics and lifestyles. Lifestyle, people's decision about how to live their daily lives, including family, job, social, and consumer activities. Developing market segment profiles. How to develop market segment profiles? We have to go through some steps. Number one, describe the similarities among potential customers within a segment. Number two, explain the differences among people in organizations and the different market segments. Number three, assist marketeers in determining which segment is the most attractive for them to develop a marketing mix for. Now we have to go through positioning. We have studied positioning before. So what is positioning? Product positioning is creating, and not just creating, also maintaining a certain concept of a product in customers' minds. So whenever I said Mercedes-Benz, the positioning, made it like the image of luxurious comes into your mind. So the image of the product, the image of the brand, this certain concept just comes into your mind when you hear the brand name. So when you say McDonald's, you just imagine happy times. A product's position results from customers' perception of a product's attributes relative to those of competing products. Perceptual mapping and basis for positioning are also included for positioning. is repositioning? There is something called repositioning. After I have made the position, there might something happen, as existing brands may have to be re-evaluated to ensure proper positioning. This can be accomplished by 5 trials: changing price, changing distribution, changing image through promotion, changing packaging, and changing benefits. And if you have just looked and noticed this, you will know that we are talking here about the marketing mix. So changing any element of the marketing mix, like the price, distribution, promotion, packaging, and benefits about the product, we can accomplish repositioning easily. Developing sales forecasts. What is sales forecast? The amount of a product a company expects to sell during a specific period at a specified level of marketing activities. So before we produce, we have to forecast our sales. There is something called time series analysis. We have to make some analysis regarding the products. There is something called trend analysis. It's aggregate sales data over many years to determine trends in annual sales. So, if it's about being trendy, this is called trend analysis. Cycle analysis. It's analysis over 3 to 5 years to ascertain whether sales fluctuate in a consistent manner. So we have to take a segment of 3 to 5 years, study them, and study how sales fluctuate in order to forecast the new sales. Seasonal analysis. It's about season, daily, weekly, or monthly sales figure to evaluate sales influences of seasonal factors. And finally, random factor analysis. It's attributing erratic sales variations to random events. When any new event happens, we have to include to know how to forecast the sales, like what we are now suffering regards the COVID virus pandemic.